right. Welcome, everybody, to Mindset, Motivation, and Mastery. And listen, I've been hounding over the last, 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks about us getting our business plan and looking at business plans and all of that. And I know I've had Janet's been on and I've had a couple people talking about, going into 2021. And listen, today is really now about helping us take that next step, doing the right thing at the right time to prepare for 2021. Because here's the truth with me and Greg. Let me introduce Greg Holtaus. He's been on before. We had some internet issues the last time. He sent me pictures of his tower. Like, he will never have issues again. He's now doing podcasts with aliens on the other side of the world. His tower is so tall. So I should knock on wood because let's hope that we don't have any.
Watch the tower fall today. That'd be great.
Oh gosh,
it's windy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good. So listen, Greg's here to talk with us a little bit about. He's coached with me with TF, coaches a lot of broker owners, coaches a lot of leadership, team leaders, and he coaches his fair share of single agents as well, much like I do. So. We're here to talk kind of about, and again, jump in is, what agents need to look at right now to make sure that when they're going into 2021, they're prepared. Because I watch agents, Greg, you can tell me how you feel. I watch agents, they don't even really think about 2021 or the next year until the next year is here. And here's the truth. We get in between, like with Americans, we get in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or if you're in Canada, you hit the Christmas season. And we start kind of slowing down and just thinking about the holidays, and maybe you don't celebrate Christmas. And if you don't, the holiday season is still things that, kind of interrupt you and disrupt you, no matter what you celebrate. And then, it's New Year's, January 1st, and agents don't get back to work until the first, if not the second week of January. And then they get in and they say, oh, I need to make change. And then they go, oh my gosh, I'm behind in quarter one. And I find when agents are behind in quarter one, they play catch up all year long, and it's that mindset of I got to catch up rather than entering the next year powerfully. So we need to talk today about how do we enter the year powerfully, what do you do to push your clients to go, man, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm now doing it. Like I always say, it's about creating behavior and habits that align with your goals of next year. So what does that mean? That's just, well, that's great, Jared. Let's create new habits and behaviors. But what does that mean for them, right? So jump in here and talk to me a little bit about, what are you seeing and where do you push your clients to prepare them?
Well, right now, obviously, getting your business plan done, whether you're an individual or you're on a team. And in your business plan, if you're on a team, you don't have to do a full-scale business plan, obviously. But I'm a big fan of, and you're familiar with this, the 90-day plan of action, okay? And the thing that I think the first mistake that's made with a 90-day plan is too many people look at Q1 December 28th.
Yeah. Okay.
Every business plan of any of my coaching clients right now is done through the first 3 sections in the Tom Ferry business plan. Yeah. And I've got about 50% of their 90-day plans of action ready because it's the actions that you take right now in November and December that are going to show up as closings in January. So it becomes like, what do you look at? Okay. And then problem number 2 that I see for a lot of people is we're spending too much time looking at lagging indicators, what's behind us, and we're not looking at our leading indicators. So when you're business planning, when you're doing your quarterly plan, always start first with looking at what do I have coming, what's on the books, or what are my future, like where are my next 10 closings? Every client I have, I tell them, put a whiteboard up, where are your next 10 closings coming from and by what date? Analyze those so you're looking at A, what's working well for you right now. B, you're getting a good idea on your units, volume, and commission. And instead of looking at that as a lagging indicator, look at it as a leading indicator and go, okay, if I stay focused with these people, now I can think about what prospecting I need to do and what lead sources I should be working to fill that gap to hit my Q1 goal. And if we're not going through that process right now, because everybody's looking at, what am I going to do in 2021? Well, Q1 of 2021 starts now, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, and it probably started 2 or 3 weeks ago, truthfully, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. We always, and I always say this to clients, what got you here is not going to get you there. So like the behaviors and habits that you have right now is why you are where you are in 2020. So if it's your best year ever, that's amazing. You aligned your behaviors and habits. If you didn't hit your goal, your behaviors and habits weren't aligned with what your goal is. So if your goal next year is to do more, we've really got to look at the things, again, you use leading indicators and lagging indicators. We really got to look at, where do we want to go? And what changes do we need to make to get there, right? Because if we do the same thing, like what is it Einstein? I always get my quotes mixed up, but we'll just call him Einstein. Einstein, yeah, what's that work? I don't know. Maybe. We'll listen. Greg Holtaus have always said that if you keep the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and so many agents do that, right? Like when you go, well, I'm not doing any better. Like, I mean, again, I don't know if you've ever had clients. Well, I've done 50 transactions for the last 7 years and my goal has always gone up. That's a perfect sign of somebody that's doing the same thing, expecting different results, right? So where would you tell an agent to start? Like when we start looking at the business plan now is kind of done. They got a vision set for 2021. They've kind of got their numbers in place. And like, so for you, like, where do you go with that?
Step one, we already mentioned, look at what you have that you think is going to hit. Yeah. Second, step two is making sure that what you have is real by checking it against the market. Now, a lot of people aren't going to understand that. Okay. But here's what's going on, at least in America. I don't know about Canada. I'm assuming very similar. Inventory issues. Okay. I have markets within my market that have 50% less inventory. You're in trouble if you're a buyer's agent right now if you're not hooked up very closely to the market, to where when that thing comes on the market, and if you've not set that expectation of you're making a great offer, $20,000 over ask price with an appraisal contingency guarantee that if it doesn't appraise, you're still going to make up the difference in some markets. So we always have to back up our business plan with the market, because that's where people really get caught. Well, I've been working expireds for the last 20 years and I am the expired king, but guess what? There's no expireds right now. So it's like, why would you look at expireds right now in most markets? I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have their place in some markets. They obviously do. But I had somebody come to me the other day and they're like, I built out this wonderful expired plan. They told me all about it. I'm like, great. How many expires did you have last week? And they're like,
very good.
And then they got on there, 6.
Yeah.
There's about 20,000 agents in their market.
Yeah.
It's like 6. So we got to be aware of market conditions behind our plan, and making sure that we have a plan that meets market conditions, which then leads to the third part of making a new plan. What if what you're doing is not aligned to work? What are the new areas that you're looking at? And I think everybody's got to take a really hard look this year at circle prospecting.
Circle prospecting. Yeah, getting back to old school. You brought up one thing that's, we call this thing today doing the right thing at the right time, but it's also looking at the right things in the right way. So like I have so many, people that go, oh, listings, there's none out there. It's so hard to get listings, but the easy side of the business is buyers. And I always say, man, you're setting yourself up for failure if you just here's a rule of thumb. If it's the harder side of the business to get, it's probably the right side of the business you should be on. Right. So when you've got buyer leads coming out of the yin yang, I get it. It feels easy, but man, you're putting yourself up for failure. So seeing the right things in the right way says in markets like this, I still need to be focused on listings, even though there's very few expireds, even though like FSBOs are down. It's hard to get listings. Like I get it. I understand, but you have to get clear what's an opportunity and what's a threat. And right now, focusing on only buyers is a super threat, because guess what? Most markets have low inventory right now. It's a numbers game in the sense that, can you be successful working with buyers? Of course you can. But it's like exactly what you said, which is knowing your market, watching your market, staying on top of it so that when new opportunities come out, or even be willing to push the market. And when I say that is just because it's not listed in the MLS doesn't mean that the home isn't out there. And you, like you said, circle prospecting. Nothing wrong with picking up the phone and do circle prospecting for a buyer. Hey, I've got a buyer that wants to buy in your neighborhood. I was just calling to see if you or anyone you know in the neighborhood is looking to sell. Right? Simple as that. Like that's an easy script for someone to roll off in circle prospecting. And it's true. Like in most cases, like most agents have a handful of buyers that they just can't find homes for, right? So that sort of script is true. Such a good opportunity to really go out and work the business. People are just afraid to work the business. Like it's the same old story back when I was coaching with Tom years and years ago. You know, I was sitting back in my chair just waiting for things to come at me, and Tom's like, man, you got to go get them, because if you don't go get them, you're going to miss the opportunities. And it was just comfortable and easy, right? And so, you know, I always say this to my clients, that listen, you know, anything we do is about how much confidence we have, right? So like, listen, I can ski a black diamond hill because I've been skiing for years and I'm confident in my skills that I can do it, versus someone who's brand new to skiing, jumping on their skis, you know, they're just going, I just want to do the bunny hill. It's just the confidence, right? So how do you gain confidence? It's through skills, beliefs, and actions, right? So when we look at doing what you said, circle dialing, is if you're uncomfortable doing it, you either don't have the skills, the belief, or you're not taking action on it enough to get the results that you want. And those three things are easy to change.
They are.
Right?
It all starts with mindset.
Man, it does, right? Mindset. I interviewed a lady last week. She talks a lot about the heart, and she says it starts with heart set, actually. And I was like, heart set. She said, if you believe it here, you can believe it here. And I was like, that's kind of smart too, right? When you think about it. All right. Sorry, I'm going off on this tangent, which is what I do. So let's not.
I think it's a good tangent. That's a good tangent.
Yeah, let's not go off on that. Okay, so like, how do we break it down? Like, if we're trying to create these kind of new behaviors, new habits based on what we know, like based on what we're seeing, based on projecting, all of that, how do we create these new habits?
Okay. So can we work into like a specific example and like maybe work through a lead source, and maybe we'll be looking at something we've been doing a long time a little bit differently today, and maybe that's where some accomplishments would happen. So I think we have to rethink the daily routine and by there's certain actions on certain days that are probably going to have better results. And I'll give you one example. I closed more deals and figured out in my market that I could close more deals on Friday than any other day. People were happy. I booked myself solid starting at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoons. They were off work. They were excited about what the weekend had to come. And my closure rate through tracking and measuring, I found out, was 50% higher on Fridays. So I built that into my business. Another appointment setting hack that worked well for me that you have to think about trying is, what's your Monday look like? And here we are on Monday. All right. And so many people have had an exhausting weekend and they take this day off. I see that a lot in the industry. I'll just turn my stuff into the office. We'll go run some errands. I'll do some things. But whenever you start looking at internet traffic, it's actually very high because people have looked all weekend. Some of them didn't find what they need, especially right now. They go to work. They're not real thrilled about being at work. And what's that little hidden window? It's their real estate search. And they're checking out real estate. And they're thinking about, what could I be looking at the rest of the weekend? And we miss an opportunity. So following up with the people that we worked with from the weekend, you know, hey, what do you think of the things that we looked at? Do we need to get a second showing on anything? Looking forward to pre-booking based upon the expectation that things are going to come on the market this week. You need to be ready. If I call you, is there a day that's just an absolute no? And so instead of saying, what day are you available? I've kind of flipped that script this year and like, Jared, you know, is there a day that's just absolutely out this week? Because we need to have our schedules clear because new stuff's going to be coming on the market. And if I've got an opening and you've got an opening, we're going to have to get there so we can get this offer in to win you a house because, man, inventory is tight. Are we setting that expectation and getting excited with the customer to get them pumped up, ready for the week to come? So it goes back to that like top 10 list. You know, if somebody tells you, hey, I want to be in the house in the next 3 months, great. Do you have a problem with being in the house by the end of next week? Is really the question you should be asking yourself, because I can't guarantee inventory beyond like 48 hours right now. And so when you make the decision to purchase in today's aggressive market, I want you to know what to expect so that when your perfect home comes, we don't miss the opportunity, because I can show you 250 people that are waiting, that are saying, oh, in the next 3 months, that are not getting in homes. And I really need to know, how serious are you today? So being able to not pressure the customer, but paint realistic expectations.
No, I always say don't pressure, but prepare, right? Prepare them. So prepare them for what's to come. And it's so like, and again, you still see it with agents, right? Like they'll be like, oh yeah, a home came on the market. I'm going to show them the home this Saturday and it's Tuesday. And you're like,
that ain't happening.
No, like you understand by Saturday, that's going to be sold 4 times, right? If not more, like you need to get out now. And right. If you're not setting people up in advance for that, that's true. So again, let's jump into, a particular lead source. Like when we talk about changing stuff, like you had mentioned kind of before we got on here, kind of covering a couple of specific lead sources that weren't, that aren't our common, we're all doing it. Maybe even some that are a little bit fearful of people or even seen as old school, right? So
geofarming.
Yep.
Geofarming. So there are so many things that have to be done the right way at the right time. I hear all the time, I circle prospected a place and man, I really struck out. I'm like, okay, so now you've had this experience. That experience creates a belief that it doesn't work. And I say, well, did you do it right? Well, I read the script. I said, okay, well, did you get on Remind Pro and check out all the homes that were projected to sell in your area if Remind Pro is available? Because it looks at the algorithm of the market. So people forget the power of the envelope. In an envelope in the United States, you can put 7 pieces of paper per 1 stamp in an envelope. So if you were to have a nice little packet that talks about conditions, what's going on in your neighborhood, who you are, social proof, and have a really nice packet that you take the time to isolate according to like Remind Pro. There's also a program called Prospects Now, Info USA, ton of great products out there that you can use some predictive analytics in the market to increase the likelihood versus old school pray and spray marketing. Because right now you don't have the turnover rate of 7% geographically farm the way we used to. It's changing. Okay, if you got a 7% turnover rate or 8 or 9 or 10, you better really hit that neighborhood. I'm seeing a lot of 2 and 3% because sellers are hanging onto their home. So what do we have to do differently? We have to use better metrics. Look at the equity that they have in their home. Look for job changes. Look for people that had children. That's what these algorithms do. Hit them with a really nice packet. Then it becomes, hi, Jared, Greg Holtaus here. I was calling to see if you received my packet about all the wonderful things that are going on in your neighborhood and how that's going to positively affect your market. Would you like to know more? Okay. People are like, what? Your neighbor's home just sold down the road. All these different things that are out there that you can use as opening conversations that's relevant as the knowledge broker. Tom talks all the time about being the knowledge broker. It's your knowledge and how you portray that knowledge that's going to make the huge difference. So, but geographic farming versus sending everybody a postcard in the neighborhood and hoping with a generic message, getting a more specific message that sets you apart from everybody that's doing the postcards, then doing the follow-up call, then maybe doing the door knock post-COVID. Maybe you don't want to door knock today, but post-COVID, going back to the door knocking, showing up in person. I believe those are the things that are going to make the difference in setting you apart so that when you make that call, you have a higher likelihood of success.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's a perfect example of in today's world creating, again, farming is how do we set ourselves apart from other agents and how do we create visibility, right? So once we create visibility, then how do we set ourselves apart from other people? Again, no different than what motivational, speakers or leaders, do is it's easy in our world today to create visibility. And you just now have to set yourself apart, right? So in our world today, it's from a farming perspective. Here's the thing. And again, I'm going to go back to if you're going to plan on sending a postcard out a month and that's it, no, you probably aren't going to get the results that you want. So the question is how do you do exactly what you said, which is, digging deeper with people, make it more real, make it more authentic, right? And then get out in front of them so they start getting to know you better. Like I have so many clients that I talk about target ads on Facebook in their farm, and they go, yeah, but Jared, Facebook changed the algorithms and this and that. And listen, you can only come down to 15-mile radius now. And that just blasts everybody in the neighborhood rather than just my farm. And I'm like, yeah. And what's the problem with that? Like, is there a problem with that? Like, as long as the people in your farm is seeing it, that's really what we want. Oh, you don't want people to see you in the neighborhood over? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like, are we silly? So, like, stop letting little things hold you back and really, really get clear on all the things that you need to do now. And farming is a perfect example that it's easy to prepare for a farm. Like right now, it's easy for us to prepare. It's easy for us to get everything done in advance, start, learning the market, start doing all of that sort of stuff to get it set out and get it rolling. Like, it's easy.
Yeah. And I want to follow up on what you just said there.
Yeah.
That example of geofarming is one aspect. Power video is huge. Here's a change. Okay. So now that we have a 15-mile radius, great, more opportunity. Give a market report and market stats in a geographical larger area. So maybe go for a whole county. Okay. Now, if you're in a major urban area, I get it why you're not doing a county. But suburbia, you might be able to get by with a county. You might be able to, or do just an overall, just a kind of a catch-all. But here's the other part. Why not specify your message and an ads manager go in and target market people that's been on Zillow, target market people that's been on Realtor, target market people that have an interest in mortgage, okay? Because the boost is everybody to everybody. It's like the postcard of Facebook, all right? But whenever you go into ads manager, again, right thing at the right time. If you're a larger team or if you're the team leader, I'm speaking to you right now, okay? If you do not have a content creator involved with your team and an ads management, somebody that knows how to get your cost per playthrough down from $4 to 65 cents, something you probably need to be looking at, because being able to just kind of throw an ad out there in a specific neighborhood, it has gotten tougher, and we got to be very careful at the things that we do at the right time. I don't need to become a Facebook ad genius, but I need to educate myself enough as a leader to know the difference between the person that shows up and says, hey, I can get you 14,000 impressions versus seeking out somebody that can get you a 65 cent per 60-second playthrough with a pixel set up on your website, a pixel set up on your Facebook, a pixel set up on your Instagram to capture every person, and then figure out how to read what you captured to those that are retargetable. Because if somebody watched it for 60 seconds, they're really interested. And then it goes back to, again, the right thing. Do you have the right script? Are you catching them in the first 10 seconds? I see a lot of ads out there that have this wonderful intro, similar to yours, which is perfect for what you're doing. But on Facebook, you got like 10 seconds, Are you looking to buy a home? Great news, this message is for you, okay? But then you can kind of set up that intro with captioning, again, doing it the right way so that it increases your likelihood. And I think for 2021, being specific is going to be the thing for all of us to look at is, are you looking at doing the right things the right way and the right lead source? Because we went from a market that's had an abundance of inventory that was moving towards a normalized market of a 75% sales rate to a market that, if you remember a year ago, everybody's saying, get ready for 2021. It's going to slow down. We're starting to see normalization. It's not going to get terrible, but it could slow down. Everybody's looking at expires, and then boom, changed just like that. And that's real estate. Now we're saying this market could go on like this for the next 3 to 5 years in some predictions.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing now and be very specific and getting the right advice, which is why everybody needs a coach.
Look, sold. No,
everybody needs a coach.
Listen, I totally agree with that. Obviously, I totally agree with it. It's what I do. But it's, no, Greg, I don't agree with that. Not everyone does. No. Obviously, yeah. But again, but it is that exact. We talk about coaching all the time, and sometimes when you're in it, it's hard to understand what is the right thing at the right time. So like you bring up, you should hire a coach, and you're 100% right. Like, because it's easy for someone else to, who looks at the bigger picture for you to be able to go, this is the right thing at the right time. Do this now. Okay, now do this and do that. And like, it's all, that's what it's all about. And, as a coach, I always say to people, listen, it's not my job to come in and, force you to do things. My job is to come in, look at your business and help steer you in the right direction in hopes that you see that same thing and make the right choices to move forward. Right. And again, so you bring up that, but that is a very good point. If you don't have a coach, then you're steering your own ship. And sometimes it's hard to look out every single window to see what's going on, versus having someone to help you with that. So that's
beware.
Yeah.
Buyer beware. I mean, and Tom, I think, pointed this out, which was a great thing. What was there, like, did he say $6 billion being dumped into our industry?
Yeah.
And talking about online buyer leads for a second. Just kind of an educational piece here. I don't know if anybody watches, but if you're an NAR member, NAR has the Home Buyers, Home Sellers Trends Report that they initiate every year for us, where they talk to 1 million people to find out the trends. I've watched that change dramatically over the last 12 years. Every year I subscribe and I pay for the $100 for the full report. And it's been really interesting. The repeat business has just went, And so, again, as part of your business plan, where's your follow-up? Are you setting that expectation of communication, of future communication at the closing table? But these online leads, talking about these disruptors and these aggregators and all these people that are trying to get a piece of our pie. I mean, when you really look at it, 60 to 70% of people out there know who they're going to use already. They either have a relationship and they're sophisticated with an agent, or they're going to ask their best friend, who's going to then give you the referral. So then you go 10% go for sell by owner. That number's shrinking. But basically, you can say for all purposes, 75% of the market's kind of taken. Okay, so that 25% that's available, the people that are going online and searching, the aggregators, they get you to buy something. Go, well, 100% of people online, yeah, but they don't tell you that 75% of them have an agent, already have somebody in mind that they're going to use.
But do they use that agent?
Huh?
But do they use that agent? Like, when you say that referrals going down, do they use that agent? And if they don't, why not?
Well, they don't, because the aggregators are getting between us, and that's the number that keeps going down. It used to be 80, 90%. Now we're 60, 70. I think we're heading to 50, 50, because here's what happens. At the closing table, people walk out the door. And then whenever I talk to people about that repeat and referral business, and I say, hey, do you set that expectation? No, I don't want to bother them. Well, you just help them celebrate the most amazing purchase of their life, the biggest purchase of their life. You've been there as their cheerleader right there, rah, 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 long way. And they say, I don't want to feel salesy. Well, I got news. There's nothing more salesy than selling somebody something and then turning your back on them and then being upset when somebody else's sign is in the yard 5 years later because you didn't take the time to call them or send them a card or check in on them.
So I'm going to challenge, and I know I'm not challenging you because you probably agree exactly with what I'm about to say. Like, you say the aggregators are getting in the middle, and I'm going to say, guys, you're letting the aggregators get in the middle by not doing exactly what Greg said, which is by not doing the follow-up, by not always being in touch with them, by not being their real estate agent. You're letting these aggregators get in the middle, and therefore then they're selling your clients to other agents who are just calling and doing a better job on the follow-up than you did. So it's not that they wouldn't use you. They would, if you would just do a better job of following up. Like, I never, I look at sphere of influence plans, and I go at this time of the year, I start looking and I go, okay, this is what we looked at last year. How did you do? Oh, well, I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do this. And then I'm like shaking their heads going, well, then you wonder why you didn't get the return that you wanted. If you don't do the right thing at the right time, you're going to lose them. And you're going to lose them because they're no longer sitting at home going, I wish someone would call me. They're seeking out information that you're not providing them.
Right.
Simple as that, right? So
it is that simple. And I'll give you a great kind of script here real quick. So let's pretend you just closed. I would say to you, Jared, before you walk out this door, I just want you to know 90% of the time when people walk out that door to go start their new life in their new home, they never hear from the real estate agent again. And I just want you to know that that's not the way it's going to be with me. So I just want to know if it's okay with you if I follow up in like 30 days, just to make sure everything's good with the house. And I also want you to know that I want to be your real estate agent for life. And that means if you have a repair, if you need somebody to mow your lawn, I don't care what it is. If it's related to that house, I probably got a guy or a gal that could help you out. So just keep me in mind. And I hope that you're okay with me just calling and bugging you once in a while, because I want your friends and family too. I don't just want to help you. I want to help everybody. I want to be the family real estate agent for life. So I just want you to know you're going to hear from me because I love you. I care about you, and I want to take care of you for the rest of my career and yours.
And number one, they want that. Number two, they respect that. And number three, it's also important to them. And we look at it as if, oh, I don't want to bug them, but we don't understand, like, that's important to them. Yeah, but I don't want to pretend to be their friend. I'm not asking you to pretend that they're your friend. You're their real estate agent, and the real estate agent.
Yeah, own your profession.
It's okay.
Own your profession. Own your profession. You are a real estate agent. That means you have to keep up with people.
It is what it is, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, we're at 30 minutes. I want to be respectful of your time. And I know both you and I got coaching calls that we're always on and off all day long. So look, I'm just going to go through this really quick. Like, number one, understand your GCI goal. Should you shoot for the moon? I don't care what you shoot for, but you should have a plan of what you're shooting for. So listen, I say be somewhat realistic to make sure that you can set a plan around your goal. Understand how many units you've got to do. Then get super clear on the number of appointments you've got to do in order to do those deals. And here's the thing: if you aren't tracking your numbers, you're just going to use an average conversion rate, and an average conversion rate is average. So you should track your numbers so it's no longer you're using your own conversion rate. And then when are you going to do it? Like, what does your schedule look like? This is what I say to people. In order for you to hit your goals in 2021, it might be just as simple as adjusting your schedule and committing to that, right? Like I track, and I have one client that still uses the tracking form that we use, that I sent, and we look at his numbers, and we look at, this is what he said he was going to do, and this is what he does. And even he's having a really good year this year, he's still off by his conversation goal by, I don't know, probably by 40%. So I think he's just over 50%. He's off his conversation goal. In his head, he says, oh no, I killed it this year. Like, that's what we had last year. Oh no, I killed it this year with conversations. I'm like, dude, just look down at the tracker you send me every day. This is what you're doing, and this is where you're supposed to be. Can you imagine if you had all those conversations, what it would look like, right? So for him, it's just that simple adjustment is going, hey man, I need to just talk to more people, live into the plan I have, create the time that I need around it, right? And then get super clear on where your business is coming from. Like, if you do that, and again, even drilling down to, like you said, with, hey man, I got to be willing to circle dial. I got to be willing to go after my farm. I got to be willing to do all of that sort of stuff and get better at it. It's easy, man. So if you were to leave, when we look at doing the right thing at the right time, we've got less than 60 days before the new year, believe it or not. What should people do this week as far as you're concerned? And then we'll end it there.
As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people know how to do a business plan, or have access to a business plan, or have an idea in their mind. What you've got to figure out is what's holding you back from execution. So if it's anything that we talk about, and I'm just going to go with what I see. Whenever people don't take action, it's because they don't have a plan. But when they make a plan and still don't take action, it almost always leads to skills. Okay, you're not confident in what's up here or what's in here to be able to execute. So you got to find out what that limiting belief is and practice. And again, get with somebody that knows what they're doing. And I'll close with this. I had a really, really great first boss. Guy was super talented. And he only had one arm. He was a very talented guy. I had to trust him with my life. Literally, he would say, take the nail and hold it like this, and I'm going to hammer it in. And I had to trust him. And he never hit me. He never hurt me. Okay. But I was mopping at this restaurant, and I was doing this. I was sloshing it back and forth. He goes, what are you doing? He reached in and he grabbed this mop, put it around his arm, and he pulled it. He goes, there's a point of reference of how to do everything right. He put it in, rang it out. He said, go this way, swipe towards yourself. The dude out-mopped me in like 2 seconds, but that hit me at 16 years old. The guy with one arm just schooled me on mopping, and I thought I was smart. You have to have a point of reference. You have to know what the playbook is. You need to know what right looks like. If you don't know what right looks like, you'll never execute on anything, and that's why you need a coach.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that is, when we look at that, that is one of the biggest benefits of having a coach. You look at some of our coaching clients and how well they do. Again, Tom, like anybody else, gets up and goes, hey, our clients are hitting this, and I forget our numbers, but I mean, like, our clients are hitting this, and it's simply that they're open-minded enough to be aware of what they don't know, like what they need.
Know what you don't know.
Know what you don't know, right? So they're willing to get that help, and that's 100% about finding the right person that's going to help you get there. All right, my friend, I appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate you jumping on here with me, and again, helping everybody, making sure that they're doing the right thing at the right time. Have a powerful week, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon.